Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Coach Wells, licensed therapist. And what I want to talk to you guys about today is the three biggest mistakes that therapists, oh, I'm sorry. I want to talk to you guys about the three biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make when it comes to dealing with their anxiety. And I want to tell you guys this because I've seen this time and time again with the hundreds of entrepreneurs that I work with, that they have issues with dealing with their anxiety. And what that leads to is bringing down their performance within their businesses. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. And also, I want you guys to definitely subscribe to this channel so I can get more information like this, because I'm going to make this a reoccurring thing where I could come on and give you guys techniques and strategies that I use in my therapy sessions. I want to bring it to you guys here on YouTube so that way you guys can get access to them without going through therapy. Believe it or not, I have a lot of my clients, they have to pay to see me. But for you guys, you can definitely get all this information for free by just simply listening to this podcast. So, with that being said, I'm going to get into these. But before I do, I want to tell you guys a quick story. When I dealt with anxiety as a basketball player, it was one of the things that was probably the most crippling, the most terrifying, the most devastating thing that I went through. And what was tough about it is that I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't even know what anxiety was. I just thought, oh man, I feel nervous. I feel weird. I feel afraid. But the vocabulary of saying something like anxiety just simply didn't exist back then. Nowadays, people are all talking about anxiety, mental health, depression, things like that, but it wasn't really a thing back when I was in high school and back when I was in middle school. And as a result, I was not able to perform at my highest level. And you've never seen me in person, but if you saw me, you'll see that, man, coach, you're pretty tall. And then that's right. I'm 6'3", very athletic. It's at least back in that day. And the thing is that I couldn't put it all together. You've seen this time and time again when it comes to, let's say, NFL players, NBA players, even baseball players who get drafted really, really high and they go into the league and they flop. They're not as good as, let's say, they thought they were going to be. And that's because they weren't able to put it together mentally. And that's something that I struggle with. And that's something that I see a lot of people struggle with when it comes to being an entrepreneur. I can't tell you how many talented people I've seen that know what to do. They've read all the books, they've gone to the conferences, they've even paid for coaching, paid a lot of money for coaching, but yet they're still not able to put it together to where they can take an idea and they can craft it in a way that they can get money from it. They can't take an idea and make it something that they can touch. And a lot of that comes from their inability to overcome their anxiety. And that's where I want to talk to you guys today about. So, again, this is the three mistakes that entrepreneurs make when it comes to their anxiety. And I want you guys to write this down. And again, make sure you subscribe to this podcast so that way you get more information like this. Subscribe to this channel as well, just so that I can do lives for you. And I'll even tell you, if you leave a comment and say, Coach, can you do a topic on this for entrepreneurs? I will get on here and I will personally do a topic on whatever it is that you guys ask me for. And that's a great thing to do because, again, you get to avoid going through therapy. You get to avoid paying someone to answer your questions, to solve your problems. And I'll do all of this for you for free. So make sure you drop a comment and subscribe to this channel. So the first biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make when it comes to their anxiety is they think that their anxiety is proof that something bad will happen or is currently happening. Guys, your anxiety is not proof of anything. Your anxiety, is just proof that your mind is getting ahead of you, right? It's proof that you're human. It's proof that, you know what? Negative thoughts, they happen, right? And here's the thing, if you ever stop and ask yourself, did that thing, whatever it was that I was anxious about, come to fruition? Did it happen? 80% of the time, you'll find out that it doesn't. And I could probably make an argument that's probably higher than that. But yet, when people have these negative thoughts coming across their mind, they believe that, hey, I think something bad is going to happen, therefore something bad will happen. Well, if something bad will happen, right? And I'm using air quotes, if something bad will happen, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna clam up, I'm gonna shut down, I'm gonna try to protect myself and not be as aggressive as I know I should be. And that is the story of me as an athlete when I played basketball. I always thought, man, I'm gonna miss this shot. So why take it? Because if I don't take a shot, guess what I don't do? I don't miss any shots. Well, how does that help if you're trying to be the best basketball player you can be? If you're trying to get a scholarship, if you're trying to score 20 points, it doesn't help. And it doesn't help for you as an entrepreneur if you're afraid of taking chances. If you think every chance that I take, every podcast that I do, every video that I shoot, every sales funnel that I put together is going to fail, guess what I'm going to do? I'm not going to do any of that stuff. And guess what that does? That reinforces the negative thoughts you had to begin with. So that thought that may have been kind of passing by, something that kind of comes and goes, is now something that's tied to you for life. But believe me when I say anxiety is not something that is proof that something bad is going to happen. Anxiety is just simply your mind going too far into the future, searching for all the things that could go wrong. And here's the thing, your mind will naturally do that, and it will always do that. That's the mind's job, is to protect you. You are your mind's number one asset. And just like anybody protecting their number one asset, they're going to do everything they can to keep them safe. And that's what your mind is doing. So again, having anxiety is just proof that you're human. And again, this proof of anxiety, this anxiety that comes up, it doesn't mean that something bad or negative is going to happen. It just again means that you're human. So what I want you to start to do is to normalize anxiety. When it's there, welcome it. If it was a person that walked into the room, how would you greet it? I need you guys to personalize this feeling so that way now it has its own identity outside of who I am. By doing that, it allows you not to become so attached to anxiety when it comes. So with that being said, let's get to the second one. So the second biggest mistake entrepreneurs make when it comes to handling their anxiety is they lose themselves by overthinking. All right. They lose themselves by overthinking that and believing that this will solve their anxiety. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by that. So when people lose themselves in their anxiety, they start to overthink as a way to overcome that anxiety. All right, so I want you guys to think about what I'm saying. So people start to think, okay, I have this anxiety. What can I do to get rid of it? What's the magic plan, the magic potion, whatever the case it may be, to get rid of this anxiety? And what tends to happen is they tend to get pulled into the grasp of anxiety. So I want you guys to think of anxiety as like quicksand. All right. And if you know anything about quicksand, when you step in it and you fight it, what happens? You sink even deeper. And that's what overthinking does to anyone when anxiety is present. So when anxiety is present, I need you to pause. I need you to be where your feet are. Okay. And I'm get a little bit into that into the next point. But when anxiety is present, I need you to actually go and talk to someone, process it with someone, because they're going to have a better view. They're going to have a new set of eyes to help you to overcome this anxiety. Because if not, you're going to be fighting ghosts, right? We've all heard that term before. If you ever seen Boys in the Hood, this is kind of like when Trey was punching the air, if you will, right? We don't want to do that because when you're overthinking, guess what you're not doing? You're not focused on your business. You're not optimizing your business. And that is the most important thing you need to be doing as an entrepreneur. And I'm going to go a little further. I'm going to touch a little bit into the marketing piece as well. When you're totally focused on you, when you're totally focused on your anxiety, you're not focused on your market. You're not focused on the people that you're meant to serve. And when you do that, your marketing is a little off, right? The offers that you're putting together is not as succinct or in sync as it needs to be. Why is that? Well, you haven't focused intently and purely on your clients, on your customer, on your avatar. Okay. Believe me when I say marketing, entrepreneurship as a whole, but marketing specifically is a very selfless thing. So get out of your own head and get into your customer's head. And trust me when I say that will help you with your anxiety. So again, this point, I want to make sure I say it clearly. And my apologies, I got a phone call, so that's why I got a little lost. But the biggest mistake, the second biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make when it comes to handling their anxiety is that they lose themselves by overthinking. Okay, so when anxiety comes, they start to think through all these scenarios, trying to work it out, trying to come up with the perfect plan to avoid something, to do something that's hard in an easy way, right? They get caught up in their mind. And they do this because they believe that the overthinking will solve their anxiety. That's not the case, right? So when that happens, I want you to reach out to people. Even taking time to journal your thoughts, just to get them on a sheet of paper, helps to take these thoughts that are up here in your mind and place them on a sheet of paper. So that way they have a place that is held by them, if you will, rather than being held in our mind, if you will. So, with that being said, that brings me to the third and final point. So, the third and biggest mistake that people make, that entrepreneurs make when it comes to handling their anxiety, is that they forget where their feet are. Okay. They forget where their feet are. Now, there's two famous people that said mindfulness is being where your feet are. One of them is Oprah Winfrey, and the other one is Nick Saban. These two people are, as you know, very powerful. They're very much leaders in their respective industries, right? But also, one can say that they have a way to move people, right? They have a way to lead people. And this is the thing that they both said mindfulness is. And I found it to be very interesting. When anxiety is present, your mind, as I said, is it's in the future, right? It's thinking through all these scenarios that could happen. Maybe it does happen, maybe it doesn't, right? As I mentioned, probably 80% of the things that you think will happen doesn't end up happening at all, right? And it's probably even higher than that. So again, when you're anxious, when you're feeling anxiety, I need you to be where your feet are. What that means is I need you to be present. I need you to be in this moment. Because what happens when anxiety comes, we forget what our North Star is. We forget the tasks that we have planned for that day. And when that happens, you lose your productivity. The performance that you thought you were going to bring into the workspace that day, right? The skill set that you do have deep inside of you, it can never be unleashed because you're thinking about all the wrong things, right? You're thinking about all the negative things that could happen. And that's the thing that keeps people locked in into a box, right? Into a comfort zone, into a place where they're not able to thrive. So, what I need you to do is again, be present. Ask yourself, what is the thing that I should be doing today? Because believe it or not, you can take great actions, not just actions, but you can take great actions and do great things even when anxiety is present. And that's what I teach my clients. So, as I said, these are the three things, the three biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make when it comes to handling their anxiety. The first one, as I said, is they think that their anxiety is proof that something bad will happen or is happening, and that is false. The second one is they lose themselves by overthinking because they believe that overthinking is the way to solve their problems, is the way to solve their anxiety. And it's not. Just process what you're going through, whether it be through talking to a therapist like myself or jotting it down in a journal. And then the third one, they forget where their feet are. In other words, they're no longer present. They're no longer right here, right now, but they're off in la la land. They're off in the future, just thinking, thinking, thinking. And when that happens, you're not able to be your best self in this moment. You're not able to serve the people that you're meant to serve. So, with that being said, my name is Coach Wells, and do me a big favor and subscribe to this channel so that you can get more free information like this. Again, there are people that pay me for this information, and I'm giving it to you guys for absolutely nothing. So make sure you subscribe. And if you leave a comment asking me a question, not only will I answer it, but if you want me to do a podcast on a specific title, I do it just for you. All right, guys, I'll see you later.